Well, good morning, everyone. How you doing, Fernando?
Good morning.
We have a Subaru today.
We have a Mitsubishi today.
We have a Mitsubishi today.
It's a Lancer, you know.
These are one of the cars you guys asked about. We have this in. Unfortunately, it already has an aftermarket radio in the dash. Pioneer 2300, we already have the dash apart. He left some instructions that we were trying to decipher what they were. Figured them out. He's got a Maestro RR in here. He wants to just make sure that it's mounted up underneath the radio so when he pulls this off, he can easily flash it. Along with, of course, just redoing the harness because it's down there and it's... Anyways, this one is unique, as they often are. He has speakers to put in it, these punch speakers here. And when we open the boxes, we found that the factory speakers were already in the empty boxes. So naturally, we were like,
what?
Called him up. He apparently got antsy, tried to put them in himself. He doesn't like the way you put them in, so he wants us to pull them all back out, do them the right way. And also, he'd like to do roadkill and fast rings on the front doors. For an amplifier, we're gonna put in a 5-channel Rockford amplifier. The T1005 here with a Stinger power kit. He wants it mounted up underneath this seat here. We'll make a bracket to make that happen. Fernando's get started on this door because I'm gonna go over here and get the radio out all the way, figure out how we're going to make that harness. There's also some wires T-tap behind the radio. I don't know why they're there. We're also gonna put a backup camera, the Echo Master Tag Cam. All right, enough playing around. Fernando just informed me he wants me to take a look at the door so that you guys can see what he's been doing.
We done with the door. We do the roadkill, outside, inside, fast rings all the way. The final piece right here, as soon as we unscrew the speaker. The cool thing about the speaker is this one has the input and the output for the tweeter. The crossover is built into the speakers. We have our 2 leads in here. We have our tweeter connector over here. For the tweeter, we using the factory mount. This just snaps in right there.
Just a side note on those speakers. Rockford makes 2 versions of that speaker. They make the version that we're putting in this that has the crossover built into the backplate, and they make a second version that has the crossover mounted exteriorly. The reason why they do that is on cars like this, where the tweeter and the mid-range are in the same area, this is a much nicer way to do it. It hides the crossover and keeps it from getting wet or you having to mount it somewhere on here or something like that. Problem is if the tweeter's on the inside of the car, then you have to run a wire back in. They figured out that they made to make 2 versions of it. If you're gonna pick up these Punch Series speakers, make sure you get the version for where you're gonna have the mid-range and tweeter. If they're both on the same panel like this, you're good to go with this, which is the P165-SI. Now on the rear door, he's concerned that it might be hitting the window, so when we get that off, we'll definitely take a look at that.
Right now we checking polarity test because we don't know which one is positive and negative in this. I just made my pigtail, trying to match the colors from the factory ones, so we have it backwards. Right now what I want to do is green is positive. All right,
But what we did up front here is we plugged the PT9A, this guy, into these wires here in the factory harness. These wires we know are positive and negative because we have the plug that plugs into this, so we can easily figure that out. By doing this, we can prevent having to change the wires after the fact. We already went ahead and got the dash apart on this. If you guys have never taken one of these dashes out before, if you open the glove box here, there's two Phillips screws mounted underneath here that need to come out. And then this side panel, there's a screw down here behind the glove box that needs to come out. Pull this side panel off, and there's one more screw right here. And then this whole trim panel will come off. Unscrew your factory hazard / airbag. You're gonna take this out of the factory radio and remount it into the new kit that's in the car. And then of course we did it because we're pulling all this out. We're gonna be turning the car on and off, and we don't wanna trip any airbags or anything like that. But this is his RR and the installation done on it. Got some T-tapped wires here, which are weird because they're for an RR that aren't pinned. Okay, that's bizarre. I don't know what these two go to yet. I'll figure it out. By cutting these off and leaving the color there, I'll know which wires they need to get hooked back up to. He's got the data wires going up underneath the dash, and of course they're super tight. Now he didn't install this. When I say he, I meant whoever the installer is. And this brings us to a good lesson right here is if you're gonna install something, make sure there's enough wire to service it. I mean, this is way too tight. This should be able to come out to here so you can flash it on your laptop or mount it somewhere in the dash. A lot of the times what this happens from is you put the radio in and then you run the wires after the radio's in, not realizing how tight you've just made it. We've had a lot of people do that with RCAs and remote turn-on wire. They'll put the radio in, pull the RCA, and then you go to pull the radio out and there's no slack on the RCAs. Let's get this over to the bench, figure out what the heck is going on here. Went on to iData's site. I found the actual wiring diagram for his car, and we can see that it is just those 4 wires that were connected is all there is for this car, as well as power, ground, and accessory. That's all this will ever do for you. It's just gonna give you gauges, steering wheel controls. That means for us is that reverse is not gonna be in this guy here. This is merely just for, we're gonna call it entertainment purposes. But what we did find in our box of goodies is an OBD2 plug. Remove the T-taps, plug this in. If he needs to do anything on his car, it is removable. We're going to either grab another harness and add in the wires that are missing here, or he brought us this guy, which is a big factory wiring harness. We may try to use this, I don't know yet. I gotta go back in the car and do some more testing because there's a couple plugs behind there. We wanna see if there's anything in there that we can use. To do our testing, we can use our digital multimeter. We'll have it set to 12 volts. We have this harness here, we have this guy here. We're gonna put one probe to ground, which there's plenty of ground back here, the big metal bracket. Put the car in reverse, and then we'll just test these on here. All right, first one up is a positive. Take it out of reverse, it stayed positive. That's not gonna be reverse. Second one is nothing. We got power there. Take it out of reverse. Hey, wouldn't you know, magically, there's a reverse. There's a big white wire right here in this harness that is the reverse trigger. So when we put it back in reverse, we get 12 volts. Take it out of reverse, we lose 12 volts. And this is one of the harnesses that is in that bundle that he has. Let's head back over to the bench.